Lexus of Lakeside.
Pistons lead by 2 as Grant Hill rolled a lucky 7 in the first quarter, making all 7 of his field goal attempts.
Some off movement here, getting the pass from Lindsey Hunter, going one-on-one, tricking Calvert Cheney right there. Lindsey again, and Grant Hill running in transition, filling the lane here on the backdoor cut. Again, hard to the basket, facing up on Juwan Howard, and then finally taking Juwan Howard. You know what? You just saw the entire package.
Grant would perhaps beg to differ, saying, I've still got a few more moves, but his career best 38. I cannot recall, Greg, a first quarter in which he's had 17, but we're having the Pistons publicity staff start to look in the brief archives in Grant's career. Otis Thorpe, the ex-Piston, on the floor for the first time. Murray and Lehner didn't get it to go. Stackhouse pulls it down. Ben Wallace also out there for Washington now. I thought
Bushler did a nice job of getting over there in defensive rotation to bother Murray. You got to keep Murray's looks to a minimum.
Stackhouse in a high screen and roll. Nothing happening there. Lindsey will fight. Rattles out on him. Strickland, a very good rebounding point guard. Starts it in motion for Washington. Richmond, without hesitation. He's got 7 off the 3 ball. And the Wizards take their first lead, 24-23.
Again, as we talked about in our open, Mitch Richmond, 23 points a game on his career. And he can score them in bunches, especially when he gets hot.
Stackhouse against Richmond. Wants to beat him at this end of the floor, make him work. Stack for 2. That's where Stack was so effective against Miami, had 3 scoring post-ups. Blocked by Jerry at the other end. Reed tried to save it, did he? Off Wallace, perhaps. The officials are conferring it's Wizard basketball.
Yes, it is a little personal thing going on right now between Stackhouse and Mitch Richmond. That's our game within the game. Richmond trying to face up in his face from 3-point land, and Stackhouse getting a fingertip on it.
Murray, nothing but air. Richmond trying to get a rebound, does. Puts it in. There's some hard work. Showing why he's a 6-time successive All-Star.
And won the MVP in one of those All-Star games.
Stackhouse. Reed was expecting a shot. Jerome Williams back in the ballgame for the first time. Set that screen. Lindsey, bit of a force. Rebound Thorpe.
It was a tough shot by Lindsey Hunter. Never lost his defender and had to really arch the shot up high to keep it from getting tipped.
Wizards by 1 with the ball. And Judd Bushler knocking the ball away, but also picks up the foul.
You know, Washington's an improved team, just like the Detroit Pistons, and these two teams will battle, if anything, for the the final few playoff spots in the East. So I think it's a good idea to be able to start establishing your dominance and your intent, no matter how early it is, Fred.
No question. I mean, you put Cleveland in that boat, New Jersey perhaps, as Grant checks back in. Ron Reed will sit down. Maybe Atlanta. I mean, you're right. There are 5 or 6, 7 teams, Milwaukee, that you can say could either make the playoffs or be edged out. Howard returns.
And the Pistons off to a 2-0 start. You know how valuable a quick start would be in a 50-game season?
That's like at least 3 wins in an 82-gamer. And frankly, those are 2 wins I didn't think they'd get to start the season. At Miami and Indiana here? Wow. Here they trail the Wizards by 3. Final possession of the quarter. Grant to take it, spins, missed it. Got his on top though.
I'm telling you, he's jumping very well tonight. I mean, he quick jumped that time. He jumped twice while everybody else was jumping once, and that's why he got that tip in.
Tim Legler with the ball. And had it stuffed down his throat. Had that one a la carte. 28-27 though, Washington by 1 despite Grant Hill's incredible performance. 19 of the 27 points. Washington, though, closed with an 18-6 blitz. We'll be back for the second quarter at the pass.
If you need
Ready to start the second quarter. Pistons down by 1. They'll continue this heavy dose of hoops tomorrow night as the Pistons travel to Philadelphia. We'll be there as the Pistons tangle with Allen Iverson, and the Sixers. Live coverage starts at 6:30 exclusively on Fox Sports Detroit. Sixers a 2-0 team, as are the Pistons at the start of tonight's play.
You want to see how quick Grant Hill is in every area. Just watch how quickly he comes down and then goes right back up to get that second opportunity. As I said, he's got a little pep in his step right now.
Pistons with a torrid 57% shooting mark, but they're losing points at the free throw. Howard with a bad pass. Here comes Mr. Energy, Jerome Williams, and a foul, Tim Legler.
Wizards foul. Number 23, Tim Legler.
Again, we showed you in our open how the Pistons are able to create opportunities off of turnovers, and that ignites their transition game. Well, there was another opportunity. Jerome Williams on the run out, and it took a Legler foul to negate an easy basket.
Jerome consulted with his mother before making a pregame speech to the fans here yesterday in the home opener. And he did very well. He had his notes on cards and then went from the heart. Thanked everybody for sticking with the team and being patient during the lockout, and promised that someday it'll be 3 championship drive. And I'll tell you what, this guy, people are going to latch onto him this year because he's going to get a lot of playing time. And if he isn't already, he's really going to become a fan favorite.
Yeah, no question about that. He's a genuine person, but he's going to win over people because of his work ethic.
And his free throwing has really improved in this early season. Juwan Howard with a jump. Rebound Reed. Drop off to Grant. Here come the Pistons running. Stackhouse fills it.
Again, who made that possible? But Jerome Williams did, because he ran hard on the right lane, thus taking a defender with him, clearing out the area for Stackhouse to come on the trail.
Great pickup, Pards. You used to do that. You know about that. Strickland on the bottom. His first 2, 31-30. So you got to like Lindsey Hunter's defense on Strickland in this game so far. Now Strickland defending Stackhouse in the post. Good matchup there for Detroit. Reed.
I don't think Don Reed was quite ready to take that shot.
A little bit out of his range, too. He'd be more comfortable around 10 feet. Otis Thorpe can knock it down. Missed it badly, though. Rebound, Bushler.
OT.
OT, of course, more comfortable on the baseline. Grant ducks inside and draws that foul. That's another aspect of this Pistons attacking offense, is that Grant and Stackhouse are getting to the free throw line. Richmond returns.
Stackhouse especially, 22 free throws in his first 2 games, and of course down in Miami was 9 for 9.
Yeah, yesterday against the Pacers, Stack again stepped up big time at the line. 10 of 13 minutes. Those add up, boy, come crunch time. Daly returns.
You know, Bison Daly, as you indicated, because of foul trouble, has not really been able to get involved on a consistent basis in what the Pistons have been able to do and enjoy their success. But I've always maintained the biggest motivation a player can ever get is to see his teammates getting it done without it. So I'm expecting him to have a pretty good game.
That's interesting logic. That's the way it works. Howard, cut off by Williams. Tracy Murray, pass to fallen Grant Hill. Got his own miss. We'll try again. Ugly. Rebound, kept alive. It's a loose ball foul. And they're going to catch Bison Daly with the errant elbow. Second on Bison. So the Wizards will inbound the basketball. They trail by 3. Staff in his second year as a head coach here, of course, was a long-time assistant with the Wizards. Toss from the post, Howard knocked away. Good double team collapsing defense. Murray off the loose ball, picked up by Howard. And Tracy Murray will go to the line as he is fouled.
That was just Juwan Howard hustling while laying nearly prone on his back. He stayed with it and then eventually got it over to Murray, who got fouled.
That's doing some of the dirty work that he was known for at Michigan. We played a little more than 2 minutes of the second quarter. The Pistons still leading by 3.
It's big news! I'm here with Mel Farr, the superstar dealer, with an
We'll be at the Palace Thursday for Chuck Daly night when the Pistons battle the Orlando Magic. $19 seats on sale for only $10. You can call the Palace box office now at that phone number. Bill Laimbeer here tonight.
Bill drinking apple juice.
Absolutely, maybe lemonade. But he got a big hand as they showed him on the scoreboard. Some feel that this guy could be the next bad boy Laimbeer in this town. I mean, their styles are similar enough. I mean, they're tough mentally, tough physically, a good outside shot, tenacious rebounders.
He's got that edge to him.
Right, that's what I mean.
And I like that goatee look. I might do that.
Really?
I might try that.
That would really kind of
set it off.
I was thinking taint your image a little bit. You're too nice a guy. 33-31. Pistons by 2 as they go back to Stackhouse. This match here. Oh, threw it away though to Richmond. 2 on 3. Mitch with a pass to Howard he wasn't expecting, out of bounds. I think everybody here expected Richmond to shoot the ball. That's part of just getting chemistry between two guys who haven't played together very much. Grant Hill brings it up the floor this time. Backdoor cut by Stackhouse, knocked away by Strickland. Still Piston ball. Bushler. It's a 2.
You know, you have to be so careful over there on that sideline because there's only about maybe 3 feet of space. So when you're trying to size up that three-pointer, you don't want to step out of bounds. So sometimes you tend to have a tendency to step on the line and make it a 2 instead of a 3.
Strickland came off the screen. See many plays run for point guards coming off screens, but it works for Strickland because he can't hit that shot. 35-33 is the Piston lead. Down deep, Stackhouse. Draws a crowd, puts it up. Tough break for Stack. Here come the Wizards 4 on 3. That's a turn, isn't it? Strickland got away with it.
That was a palm at the very least.
Bushler tried to save it, couldn't.
But you know something, Brett? The officials got to get in shape too.
Can't make every call, I guess. Watch this. I mean,
oh, he picked it up. He flipped it over. I mean, he definitely turned it over, put his hand on top of the basketball, but he got away with it.
Now one-on-one. Bushler defending Strickland. Got him on his heels and hit the shot. Strickland showing why he was a second-team All-NBA player a year ago.
Yeah, led league in assists.
Grant, quick to the hole. Put it down and a foul. Oh, is he quick tonight? 23 looking for 24.
Grant Hill using that offhand too. I expect him as a slasher now, a guy who's going to go in and have to adjust in midair to get his shot off a lot of times now. He's gonna have to go to that left hand, so it's nice to have it and nice to be able to be confident with it.
Grant missed the freebie. He had hit 5 straight. 37-35, Pistons by 2.
You know, there are a lot of slot machines in the league. One-up bands, guys that can only go one way.
I love that. Sure. They use that from time to time. Foul on Eric Montross. Montross got a big hand as he came off the bench for yesterday's heroics. Here comes Ben Wallace. Has Torp will sit down. Eric with a tremendous effort yesterday with 14 rebounds. He had 11 by halftime. Richmond, great ball fake. Drops it inside of Howard. Harshly blocked and it still went down as Montross got a healthy piece of it. Juwan has 8.
Montross was there and he actually got the block. The basketball just luckily went into the basket for Howard.
Half-court trap applied by Washington for the first time. We're tied at 37. Grant sizes up Howard. Screen from Williams, open J. Front iron, tap, Montross.
Montross worked his way inside. No one put a body on him. He was in perfect position to get that rebound.
He's got such a big body, it takes up so much space. 39-37 Pistons.
He looks bigger, but he looks stronger than last year.
Yeah, he's in better shape. He's healthy. Strickland on the run, and he hit a tough one. Strickland, a nice quarter. All of his 8 points since the end of the first. Hit even again.
You know, he and Sherman Douglas, they're masters at the tough shot, hitting the tough shot.
Ad-libbing, you might say. Ran against Howard again. Fake the pass. Good D by Howard in the lane. Jerome misfired. Wizard ball. Strickland looking for Howard. Inside Juwan again.
Detroit now failing once again to get back in transition and match up. They've been victimized a few times in that area tonight in the first quarter and now here in the second quarter.
Pistons are warned on a delay of game. Just about halfway through the second quarter. Washington back in front by 2. Lindsay will return. He's going to have to wait until the next stoppage. And now the Pistons take a timeout. 6:34 to go. Give the Wizards some credit. But watch here. As Eric Montross doing his thing inside. It's a 2-point game. Picks up the foul. So very quickly the Pistons are whistled twice.
When you talk about wanting to step it up defensively, you want to do that, but not a real good idea to pick up those fouls away from the ball, out from the basket, because now with 2 fouls, 3 more, and Washington's in the penalty, and they could be there for a very long time, and it really hampers your ability to play solid, hard-nosed defense.
Juwan Howard on that hard cut. Wizards by 2. Lindsay gets around Strickland. Loses him on a ball fake, but he walks. Tom Washington made the call.
Out of bounds.
So the Wizards will bring it back. Cheney wants it on a switch down. Hunter picks him up. Hill is on Strickland. Howard against Vaught. Juwan turning, flanking, rebound to Grant. Down the floor, Stackhouse tried to catch it and pull it in, could not. And it is Washington basketball.
You know, I think Grant Hill was in his motion of passing the ball up the floor before he ever spotted the defender. He thought Stackhouse was a little more open than he was, and as did I. We were both blinded. And when the ball was in the air, that's when the defender appeared, and it was going to be a turnover.
So the 8th Piston turnover. And an offensive foul, Washington, so they turn it back. Foul on Terry Davis.
Fouls on Terry Davis. That's his second.
His second foul. But Grant Hill, by the way, with his 31 points, a new Pistons record. How about that for a half? Surpassing Kelly Tripucka's 28. That's a record for a first half for a Piston player. Do some digging for that.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Kelly Tripucka got 56 in the game. He got 28 in both halves.
Against the Bulls. If I remember correctly. Lloyd Vaught on the catch. Stripped though by Richmond. 4 on the shot clock. Gotta hurry. Lindsay knows it. Realizes. Fires. Drew some iron anyway. Washington ball. Howard tries to take it himself. Daly, a reach in foul. Bison's got to be careful. Doesn't want to pick up a technical foul, but his foul frustrations continue here in this season. 4 now. He'll have to come off the floor.
Yeah, this is reminiscent of his troubles. Excuse me, his troubles in recent games, and Daly knows it. So therefore, he's going to have to spend a considerable amount of time on that bench. Detroit, interestingly enough, no offensive continuity in the half court right now.
Mitch Richmond spinning. Rebound, Terry Davis punched it to Stackhouse. Will he take it as Strickland? Behind the back, he does. And Stack will go to the line. He may have gotten away with one there because he kind of got entangled up. But Daly's frustration written all over his face. And in that case, he's just got to put his hand in his pocket. And I know he wants to make the steal, but he's got to understand he's got the 3 fouls and now 4. So Stack for a pair, trying to retie things.
Stackhouse in that first half attempted 6 free throws. So this gets him up to number 7 and number 8. And it could possibly be his 3rd straight game or getting 9 or more.
Wizards by 1. And a palming violation on Strickland. So the Pistons will get it back.
That may have been a makeup call dating back 2 halves.
I think
2 quarters.
You were exactly right.
Because that one wasn't nearly as flagrant as the one in the first half. But you can see the ball come to rest in the palm. And you got to call that. The official made a good call that time.
Grant in midair made the adjustment. Bought wide open. Needed that. Rebound to Cheney. Strickland. Howard. And a Detroit foul, Loy Vaughn. So now he will join Daly on the bench. So 2/3 of the Pistons starting front court with 4 fouls.
But this is why they've got that depth along the front line, especially at the power forward position. You just bring Vaughn out, plug in Jerome Williams and hope that he can do the job defensively, as well as provide that spark on the offensive glass that he's capable of providing.
Strickland in the post against Lindsey. No double team now comes from Williams. That left Howard open. Juwan buried it. Tough man to double off. Juwan has 16.
They did that so quickly, it was very difficult for the defensive rotation to come. You were asking Jerome Williams almost to cover 2 people on that play, and that's tough.
Washington by 3. Grant draws a crowd. Goes inside hard. Spins it in. Grant with 33. 5 away from his career best. His team down 1.
Things getting a little hectic in there. Just a little bit physical between Jerome Williams and Juwan Howard. We'll watch that matchup inside, but obviously Williams has to be physical with Juwan Howard in order to be effective.
They're doing some yapping. Howard and Williams. Neither one backing down. Cheney, cut off right hand. Calvert to the hole.
Finally, for Calvert Cheney. 2 points, his first 2 of the game.
As a result, the Wizards go back in front by 3.
He was absolutely consumed in the first half with trying to stop Grant Hill. Totally ineffective in that area.
That's why they put Howard on, as he is now. Stackhouse for a tray. Tough break, it was halfway down. Wizards by 3 with the ball. Pistons are going to have to really earn this thing tonight. Strickland ran out of room. Oh, they say he was shoved out of bounds. That's a tough call. Because you could make the case where Strickland had nowhere to go because of good defense.
Well, let's watch the baseline. He's trying to turn the corner on 2 guys right there. And, you know, Fred, there was contact. And I think that was a good call. They never got in front. They never got squared up. And they sort of rode him out of bounds.
Strickland, a career 71% free thrower. We'll look for his 12th point. Some will say this guy might be the best point guard in the NBA. Certainly one of the top 5 to be sure.
Keep in mind, this is the Pistons' 2nd game in 2 nights, and there's one coming up tomorrow night. They're going to have 3 sessions of back-to-back-to-back games during the course of this season. And that's going to be difficult because it's going to be unusual. But if you can stay healthy, Fred, and you got a deep enough roster, I think you can handle it. Because you know something? If you're not playing, you're probably practicing. And players would prefer to play.
Sure. Lindsey Hunt on left-handed drive, and he was fouled. Boy, he was quick on that first step. I'm telling you, Friday night, Lindsey looked like he was running at a totally different speed than the Miami Heat.
Much like Grant Hill looked like in the first half. He was a step ahead and a step quicker than everybody on the floor. So he may have to take it over a little bit more to get the Pistons off the schneid right now offensively.
Lindsey has his 5th point. Stop.
7 assists.
We'll take that, won't you?
7 solid decisions. That's what that represents.
We have not even played half of the 3rd quarter. 64-61 Pistons down 3. Hill into the passing lane of Richmond. Mitch still got to the ball. That's a force. He hit it anyway.
You know, I was about to say, you would like to have him catch it 30 feet from the basket, as he nearly did. But he shows you that he's capable of hurting it even that far out.
He's a gunslinger. Williams in trap. Laid it in. Jerome gets 2 of the 3 points back. He has 4. 67-63 Washington. Look at the fight for position. Williams and Howard. Juwan faked the pass. Spinning nicely. Lost his footing to Strickland inside. Somehow missed it. Rebound. Loose ball foul. Goes against.
Ball's on Jerry Stackhouse.
It's on Stackhouse.
Chris Whitney checks back into the Wizards.
Juwan Howard 2 for 2 passing from his back. Look at Richmond where he catches. Okay, what? Maybe 25 feet, 24 feet perhaps? No problem.
Here we go,
We showed him at halftime, Fred. You really hate to think that you would have to get body up on a guy that far from the basket, but you know, tonight Richmond's looking for it and he's hurting from that distance, so you may just have to. Force him to put it on the floor, or perhaps playing a little harder without the basketball and deny him altogether. That's difficult as well.
Davis has 4 points, 69-63 Wizards, their biggest lead. Stackhouse spinning into double trouble. And a Washington foul that is met with disgruntlement on the Wizards side. So both teams have been chirping tonight in the ears of the officials. We have a timeout on the floor. A good one brewing. Richmond bringing his all-star abilities to Washington. Pistons led by as many as 7 in the first quarter. Washington enjoying a 6-point pad right now. The Red Wings will be back in action on Fox Sports Detroit Thursday against the Edmonton Oilers. Coverage begins at 7 with a pregame show. Red Wings and Oilers Thursday night on Fox Sports Detroit. Wings coming off a tough loss yesterday at Pittsburgh 2-1 as they somehow try to get any kind of winning streak going. Now falling into 3rd place in the Western Conference. Stacked for 2. He's got a dozen points. 3 field goals for him in 7 tries. But it's a good sign when he's getting to the line.
Yeah, that would be indicative of being aggressive, and Stackhouse has been very much so. In other words, he's taken a few outside shots in this game, but he hasn't settled for that. He's tried to get to the basket, thus creating that contact.
Whistle. Lindsey Hunter will pick up the foul. Officials controlling tempo right now, that's for sure. Bench points. Pistons pitching a shutout right now, but that 9 points below what they've done in the first 2 games, as they've had much more offensive production. So Whitney shoots a pair. Things grinding to a halt here in a battle of free throw.
Number 30, Ben Wallace checks back in.
Ben Wallace checks back in, and Terry Davis will sit down. Whitney has 6, 71-65 Wizards. Yeah, this team barely beat Toronto at home on Saturday night after losing handily to Indiana on Friday. Bushler off the bench. Missed a 3-try, rebound to Washington.
Yeah, Bushler was there, but he was rushed a little bit as Richmond was recovering and got up in his face and distracted him a bit. Washington has clamped down defensively more so than the Pistons in this game, Fred, and that's the reason why they're being able to put some distance between them and the Pistons right now. There's another defensive steal.
Stackhouse tried to force things, splitting the defense, turned it over.
Right now you've got Juwan Howard, interestingly enough, being guarded by Grant Hill. Grant Hill playing a little power forward right now.
Don Reed stepped in the passing lane. Lindsey Hunter running opportunity. Lane filling with Grant Hill. He'll shoot 2.
Has a few words for Whitney. Probably thought that was intentional to scrape across the back of the head as he was going for the layup. But Grant Hill probably feels like he should have converted that and got a 3-point play. Here, the transition. There's the hit on the neck. And let me tell you, that is enough to distract the shooter. And Grant saying, come on, come on. You know, no one likes to get hit across the head.
Saying, come on, you're just a little gnat. Don't bite me like that. Whitney chirping back.
Well, the thing Whitney did, he stopped the easy basket. He did not allow the 3-point opportunity.
So Grant 9 for 11 from the stripe. He's got 35. Pistons draw within 4. Cheney being chased by Bushler. Richmond off the screen. Stackhouse in his shirt. Howard on a drop-off.
Juwan Howard.
Juwan with that high release has 18. 73-67.
We know that Howard has a very well-developed post game.
Don Reed missed the roller. Bushler kept it alive, but it's Ben Wallace's basketball.
But nothing is comfortable. Nothing is easy right now for Detroit. I think you have to credit Washington's defense for that.
Cheney missed it. Reed pulled it off. Here comes Lindsey, head on a swivel. Spins in the lane. 10-foot leader doesn't go. Rebound Howard.
And you know what? When you take that early opportunity shot sometimes, well, you don't force Washington to have to expend any energy playing defense. That was about a 5-second possession, and Washington had the ball right back.
Stolen by Grant. Running opportunity, perhaps. Grant puts it up, wanted a whistle, and he got it. He'll go back to the stripe again. Right now, it's Grant Hill and Juwan Howard like the days in college.
Here, no hesitation, no playing around from Howard. He just catches, turns, and shoots the patented turnaround. He can do that. But the next time down, you had Grant Hill giving him a little different look, that time fronting and easily stepping in to get the interception, helping the Pistons go in transition. The Pistons still able to get some dividends out of their transition game, but half court right now is where they're stopping.
But Grant cannot afford to allow Juwan to get that low post position, and he knows it. Gets the hop, 2 more freebies go. 37, so Grant 1 point shy of his career high. 73-69. Mark Macon back in the ball game. He started tonight. Richmond dumped to Howard. Wasn't ready for it, but he hit it anyway.
He hit that off his heels. He was backing up. He wasn't expecting the basketball, and I don't think he was really ready to shoot it, but that shows you his ability.
Stackhouse tried to split the D. Follows up his own miss. Stack was 16. Right now, the Washington half-court defense has caused the Pistons to be a little bit scattered here.
Again,
75-71.
Again, if you're Detroit, you cannot get beat off the dribble. You got to keep them out on the perimeter. When they get into that paint area, they have the easy kick out. Your defense collapses, and you're in trouble.
Howard misfires. Wallace with the rebound, but he climbed it back to get it. Loose ball foul on Washington.
Earlier you had penetration into the middle. The defense has to come and help out, and then Howard just sifts out into the flat, and he's able to knock the easy shot down. Well, he made it look easy. I still maintain when you're backing up on your heels, that is a tough shot.
It was clearly out of rhythm. So Stackhouse will shoot a pair.
Again, Stackhouse hard to the basket. Smartly follows his shot, and instead of coming down with the threat, went for the shot attempt while he was still in the air, and I think that bought him a little space and time.
Nice to have that hang time.
Oh yeah, good if you got it.
Stackhouse is 9 for 12 from the line. Grant Hill 11 for 13. That's why the Pistons are only down 2. Strickland on the dribble drive. He's so good on the pull-up.
Yeah. Yes, he is. And got a really quick release once he elevates.
Washington by 4. Tim Legler's off the bench. Grant fires a J. Rebound. Fought for. Murray tore it away from Bushler. Howard called for it. Didn't get it. Strickland goes to the hole. Puts it up. No bucket. Foul on the way to the hole.
He's taken a couple of hard tumbles into that basket support area. Here, gets all the way in there, loses the ball just for a moment. That's where the foul occurred, but you don't see it off the screen. He goes hard. You'll see it right here. He goes hard right into the support. Trust me.
You've been there, done that, huh?
Oh yeah, and remember it well.
Strickland gets the first of 2. Both teams are hot at the line here. In fact, Washington has only missed 2 free throws the entire evening. Strickland gets them both. He has 16. He's 6 for 6 from the stripe. So it could be very well decided at the free throw line, where Washington right now enjoys a lead of 6, 3.5 to play in the third quarter.
Look under Sprite caps and you can win free Sprite.
Washington continues to lead the Pistons by 6 here in the third quarter. Don't forget, fans, you can select tickets to any 5 games in the Pistons schedule for only $79. Selection includes the April 3rd Bad Boys reunion game. Call now, 248-377-0100. Pistons with a basketball. Trap is broken. Grant with a pass. Bushler. Boys, he need that. Got it!
You know, if he gets time and he's allowed to set himself and be comfortable, his percentage goes way up.
Very good square-up jump shooter. 79-75. Wizards by 4. Murray off the screen. No. Rebound to Grant. Pistons would love to get a transition hoop. Good pass inside it. Don Reed and a foul on Ben Wallace.
See, the thing you have to remember is you start the game off with Grant Hill cutting off the ball, posting up, doing all of those things. But at some point, you know he's going to go back to what he does just as well, and that's igniting the break ball in the middle, making decisions and sliding passes inside to Don Reed and other cutters.
Don gets his first point.
But the thing is, you're getting doses of all of his game and all of his abilities, and that's what you want. That's what Alvin Gentry was determined to allow Grant Hill to do this year.
Don Reed with a couple of free throws, draws the Pistons within 2. 3 minutes to play in the third quarter and a good one. Howard off the screen. Now goes against Don Reed. Bushler fighting with Murray. Offensive foul on Juwan Howard setting the screen.
Offensive foul on Tracy Murray. That's his fourth. Detroit out of bounds.
So the Pistons get it back. Going back to what we mentioned in the open, fast break points, such a critical factor if the Detroiters can ride this to victory. They lead it 20-4, but Washington has negated that somewhat with 17 out of 20 from the free throw line. And they made it tough for the Pistons in the half-court offense.
Yes, it did.
Stackhouse fighting Legler, knows he can beat him. Does so easily, into double trouble, no. Rebound, fought for Stacksteg with it, blocked by Howard, but a foul.
Man, oh man, does he get to the free throw line. And you know, there's a price to pay when you do that. Watch how physical it is in here. I mean, arms flying, elbows in the air. Getting hit across the head. You know it's going to happen. But that's what you have to do and be willing to receive if you're going to get to that free throw line.
Yeah, this doesn't happen by accident. This is a guy willing to do the dirty stuff to maybe have a nose for scoring, right?
The good ones get to the free throw line. You know, you look at the guys that score 20 plus points on average. They spend a lot of time at the free throw line.
That would have tied it at 79-78. Reed playing Howard again. One-on-one this time. Juwan backs him down. Offensive foul.
Boy, Don Reed set him up for that, didn't he? He anticipated that bump. And then you have to sell it a little bit, Fred. You know, anticipate, here comes the bump. Boom, now go to the ground. And that helps the official make that call.
The Chiefs sold it well. Now the Pistons can take the lead here. Otis Thorpe is back out there for Washington. Stackhouse fires. Got it! Detroit back in front, 80-79. Stack with 21.
And this is being keyed by the defense. 3 consecutive turnovers by Washington.
They've turned it up, the white shirts have. Strickland over Macon. Tough shot. Missed it. Rebound. Bushler couldn't control it rather because it was pushed from behind, I think. Tom Washington drawing out the foul call. It is a Washington loose ball foul as Bushler was indeed shoved from behind. 5 fouls assessed at Tracy Murray. Pistons enjoying an 11-4 surge, trying to add to it here. Bushler can knock down a couple of free throws. Murray not at all happy with that call. This is a bruiser so far. We still have more than a quarter to play. Grant Hill will come off, replaced by Jerome Williams. Grant gets a huge hand. He's got 37 points. Will rest for the 149 here. Plus the break between quarters, so I would think he'll start the fourth.
Fresh. And that's important in this tight game.
Bushler settles for a split. 81-79 Pistons. Screen and roll. Washington has worked it very well tonight. Thorpe set the screen. Strickland bump. No question about that foul call.
He's so quick. I mean, John Reed would have loved to have been able to get all the way to the baseline to cut him off. You know, you get to the baseline, you can sort of use that as an extra defender, but he just didn't have the foot speed to keep up with Strickland.
Strickland, I think, is deceptively quick.
He really is.
Early in his career when he came out of DePaul, he was lightning quick, but now what is it about him? Because maybe he's, you know, a broad-shouldered point guard where it makes him deceptive?
Fred, I just think he has excellent body control. You know, he covers the ball very well. He hides the ball from the defender extremely well. And his foot speed is, as you said, deceptive. He's able to turn that corner on you so quickly, but it doesn't seem like it when you just watch him.
Because earlier in his career, he was more an end-to-end guy. And it just added to his arsenal the little pull-up jumper and the half-court ability to beat his man off the dribble. 81-81.
He's crafty now. You know, he's able to get it done with minimal energy use.
That's a use word. 1:20 to play in the third. Hunter saw Wallace in front of him at 6'9". Macon has to make something up here. Fires. Rebound, fought for. It's Washington's ball. Now they can take the lead as Richmond's back on the floor. And understanding it's an important possession, Bernie Bickerstaff calls a timeout. Started out as a 20-second timeout, and now is a full discussion with 1:05 to play here in the third. We could have a game very easily here with two teams topping 100 points.
It doesn't happen too often anymore.
Sort of a refreshing change instead of games that end up in the 80s. Tune in here Thursday night on Fox Sports Detroit for one of the top collegiate basketball matchups of this season as UCLA tangles with Stanford. The Cardinal coming off the loss at the hands of UConn. It's the Pac-10 game of the week. Thursday at 10:30, only on Fox Sports Detroit. That looks pretty good.
What, the popcorn or the blue fingernails?
I'd say the former. But the shooting certainly has been proficient at both ends. We saw the Pistons in the first half shoot 57% from the floor. And now in the second half, a drop off to 33. Washington pretty consistent, near 50.
You have to give the Wizards a lot of credit. I mean, their defensive intensity was noticeably different in that quarter, or in the third quarter thus far. Plus, they have not allowed the Pistons the opportunities to get it up and down the floor, get it in the full court, and obviously that plays to the Pistons. That plays away from the Pistons' strength.
Well, we mentioned at the outset this was going to be a game of tempo. And you could say maybe that's tied right now. In various flurries, the Pistons have been able to run. And certainly parts of this game, Washington has been able to turn it into a half-court game.
So, in other words, this game has had a lot of ebb and flow.
And it'll come down to the fourth quarter to decide this one. A Piston win would make them 3-0. A Washington win would make them 2-1. See what Bickerstaff has up his sleeve. Screen and roll with Richmond. Make it where he started, defending Richmond. Fade away. Mitch is so tough. He's got 21, 83-81 Wizards.
You said he had how many shots in that first game?
2 in the second half against Indiana.
Unreal. Well, I'm sure Bernie Bickerstaff is happy that they acquainted themselves with him, huh?
Lindsay had the force, draws some iron, that's it. Otis Thorpe with a rebound. Wizard had it poked away, or I should say Strickland by Hunter. The Wizards hold on to it though. Richmond for a tray. Oh my! Richmond has 24. He's knocked down 4 triples, and the Wizards, just like that, lead by 5.
You know what? Pistons were up by 2. Alvin Gentry tried to slip Grant Hill to the bench for a momentary rest, and since that time, Washington has taken serious advantage of his absence.
Final shot of the quarter by the Pistons. Lindsay wants a whistle, didn't get it. Thorpe with time from 45 feet.
After 3 pointers, Washington.
And the end of a wild finish to the third quarter as Richmond on fire with the final 5 points. I believe it is Strickland who is down. We'll check on the condition of Strickland in a moment. He should be okay, but right now his team is even more than okay, leading by 5. Bullets outscored the Pistons 30-25 in the third. They lead by 5 after 3. Here's tonight's Discover Card Payback Playback. The duo of Hill and Stackhouse.
Got both slashers going. Grant Hill, super first half. Stackhouse, repeated trips to that free throw line. Fred, I know you marked the moment when Grant Hill went out of the game. Do you remember what time it was?
But minute 49, as I recall.
Well, at that point, Washington outscored the Pistons by 7 points and really made them pay for getting Grant Hill off the floor.
Sure did. Hill and Stackhouse with the 58 points combined. They need some help. Daly would be certainly a candidate. Back on the floor to start the fourth. Bison to the hole. Puts it up, and he will shoot a pair. But I'm sure Bison held his breath as the whistle was blown, as if to say, you better not call a fist foul on me.
Yeah, he'd love to be able to get something going, but you know, it's really difficult when you haven't gotten anything good happen, up to this point. Now he's got to try and get into the mix of this game in the fourth quarter, after having sat on the bench for nearly the entire third quarter.
And you would think this would be a spot on the floor the Pistons could exploit because it's Washington's weakness, the center position. They play it by committee. They don't have a true center. And Dele will again look for his 5th point. He has not scored since the first quarter, but again because of the foul situation. 86-82, Pistons within 4. Opening minute of play of the fourth quarter. Grant Hill, as they came out of the timeout, said, it's fourth quarter, it's our time. Let's see if he's right. Richmond for 3. Rebound. Washington's ball, chased down by Howard. No looker, Strickland to Richmond. No. Rebound lost by Daly. Thornton had it blocked. Bison picks up his 5th foul. He's just out of sync right now. On the previous rebound, he jumped a little too early, and there could not collect that one.
It's like a bad day on the golf course for Bison Dele. You know, Fred, you just know it's not happening today. It's no matter what you do. And for Dele, he just cannot seem to stay out of harm's way. The fouls are finding him now. He's got 5, and I think at this stage of the game, they're just going to leave him out there.
Might as well, because he maybe can get into some sort of rhythm here and help the Pistons out for a couple of minutes. Otis Thorpe, his first 2 points of the ball game. And the Wizards have reclaimed their largest lead of 6. No way that Alvin Gentry will try to save anything for tomorrow night. You got to try to win this big. Pick and roll, Hunter and Dele. 10 on the shot clock. Grant, a sea of blue in front of him. Lindsay, a long 3. Got it! Oh, that was a biggie. He's got 9. His first triple tonight. The Pistons are down 3.
I thought the hesitation might hurt him, but he still had the ability to knock it down, though he thought about it twice.
I was thinking the same thing. Strickland off the screen. Rod Strickland. Give him 20. He has been money tonight.
Yeah, certainly no hesitation there, but there you see the versatility of a guy like Strickland. And you know, he can play both spots. He can play with the basketball. He can play off the basketball with equal ability.
Not many point guards can do that. Lindsay tries again, other side. Front iron, rebound. Fought forward. Look at Jerome Williams on the hustle. Save that possession. Lindsay again. No. Rebound Wallace.
Boy, Lindsay, 2 wide open looks. But if the Pistons are going to win this game, they're going to have to win it on this end of the floor right here. They're going to have to clamp down defensively, cannot allow that penetration, and certainly got to do a better job of guarding the guards. That was one of our keys. You got to contain that backcourt.
Strickland finally missed. Wallace hit a rebound, scraped away by Lindsey Hunter. Grant Hill down the floor, no looks to Stackhouse, gets it back to Grant. Lefty doesn't go, no foul. Wallace in a jump ball situation with Stackhouse.
Let me tell you something. Wallace is a big presence in there on the glass. And Fred, you may remember he had a huge game against the Pistons in Washington last year, late January. So he is a player that will not be heralded, but he is a threat inside on the defensive end and on the glass.
Yeah, it was Alvin Gentry's first game, and Wallace had 13 boards in that Washington victory. Right now, the Wizards lead by 5. Pistons looking for some sort of defensive spark. They trail by 5. Be at the Palace Thursday night for Chuck Daly night when the Pistons battle the Orlando Magic. $19 seats on sale for only $10. You can call the Palace box office right now. Jump ball. Wallace at 6'9". Stackhouse almost beat him. Look at the hustle again by Jerome Williams off the chest of Otis Thorpe. We talked about at the outset the backcourt scoring would be a critical number. 50-20 in favor of Washington.
Wow.
But keep in mind that a fellow by the name of Dumars is watching this thing in civvies tonight. Stackhouse from the corner. Got it! Jerry Stackhouse has 24.
Jerry Stackhouse is doing all he can offensively to make Mitch Richmond have to work defensively, maybe expend some energy.
Lindsay somehow got to get up a little bit tighter on Strickland.
He needs to, but he just doesn't want to give up that penetration.
It's a double-edged sword. Richmond lost it out of bounds. Pistons get it back and a chance to tie or take the lead with 9:10 to play. Crowd really getting in the ball game now. It's crunch time in the fourth quarter. Pistons would dearly hate to give up one of the first 2 wins by a home court loss tonight. Grant Hill backing Howard down in the lane. No, sir. Rebound, Wallace's. It's Strickland on a crossover. Couldn't go anywhere. Howard in the lane. Foul. Reach in, Grant Hill.
Calls on Grant Hill.
Grant Hill is now explaining to Bison Daly where he should have been. That's a little bit of Grant's leadership taking over right now. Or maybe a year or 2 ago, he wouldn't have been so boisterous in making his point.
Shooting 2.
He realizes it's important. And I think his teammates, they're mature enough to respect the fact that he has to if this team is to be better. He's got to be the coach. He's got to be the voice out on the floor.
Howard missing the free throw. And of course, Grant can back up his talk with 37 points, as he has done. So it's a little tough for Bison Daly perhaps to bark back at him. It's all for the same reason. They want to win. Howard has 21. Pistons trail by 3. 8.5 to play. Grant again. One-on-one with Howard. Cruises inside. Puts it down. He's fouled. Grant's got a game face on right now. He's got a career high, and he'll look for his 40th point.
Here, shakes, crossover, elevates, and Wallace in there trying to help out defensively, but it's not going to happen. And yeah, he's got his game face on, and no better way than to lead by example after you have given somebody a mouthful on your team, trying to get them in gear.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Look at the number 39, looking for 40. He missed it. So we remain at 91-90 Washington. Good one at the Palace. Pick and roll again. Howard and Strickland. Strickland left wide open. Missed it though. Rebound. Stackhouse went high to get it. Pistons want to run. 5-on-4. Howard late getting back. But Detroit not able to take advantage. Hunter. Stackhouse a trail. Rebound Williams. Junkyard Dog eating up another.
He gets 11 a game on average, first 2, and half of them have been on the offensive end.
Grant Hill gets a screen from Williams. Thought about splitting D. They trap him hard, and a timeout called by Grant Hill. A good decision.
Oh yeah, he had no choice. He was 4-teamed over there. The sideline, the baseline, and 2 Washington defenders.
Say, Washington has come in here, boy, with a tough mindset on the road, giving the Pistons all they want and more. Will return, Wizards by 1.
Hi, I'm Karen Newman for Capital Mortgage Funding.
Well, one of the stories in this ball game, the Washington lead by 1 off the glass. In the first 2 games, the Pistons out-rebounded the Heat and the Pacers, but look at this. Tonight, Washington by 15. I mean, they were hammered on the glass by the Pacers on Friday night in their opener. So things have changed in this one.
New day.
Lindsey Hunter skidding to a stop. He was fouled. I think this game was going to be decided at the free throw line. Whoever can knock him down with more regularity. That's the 13th foul on Washington. The Pistons have 2 in the quarter. 7.5 left. Lindsey again skidding. Bumps into Strickland, who stripped him out of bounds to the Detroiters. 18 seconds on the shot clock.
Plenty of time for Detroit to get the spacing they need. And keep in mind, you've got Jerry Stackhouse driving the ball well to the basket, and of course Grant Hill having a career night.
That was a cute little drop-off by Stackhouse of the inbounds to Grant, forcing the Washington foul. He waited, and then with a perfect little pass. So now, from here on, the Pistons will be in the bonus with the next foul. And again, 7.5 to play. Hill and Cheney. Goes to the hole, missed it, a little bit too hard, rebound, and it's Washington's ball as Williams was on the baseline.
I know Calvert Cheney has to be saying to himself, thank goodness for help side defense, because off the dribble he has been ill-equipped to do anything with Grant Hill tonight.
Yeah, Howard has actually done a little bit better against Grant than Cheney has. Wizards by 1 with the ball. Richmond off his screen, had a hand in his face. Wallace inside, laid it in.
Wallace set an effective screen, and when he rolled, there was no one there to guard him. His screen was so good, it took 2 defenders out of the play.
93-90 Wizards. Stackhouse with Richmond on it. One-on-one, Hill and Cheney. Cheney moved him out. Grant goes baseline, bullets the pass inside, a jump ball. Bison Dele got half of it anyway. So at 6'10", he will jump it up against the diminutive Ron Strickland.
Now, when you have a situation like this, it's important for those people on the circle to hold their position and not allow Washington to anticipate and go and steal the basketball, because you know Brian Williams is going to out-jump him.
Maybe here's where you want to go. They do.
There you go. Oh, but see, they stepped in there, Fred, and stole it. That's why it's not always a matter of who can out-jump whom. It's what happens around that circle.
Richmond was watching the telestrator. 93-90, Wizards by 3 with the ball. 6.5 left. Look at Strickland to the hole. Nobody stopped him. Somebody's got to help out defensively, and Lindsey Hunter slams his foot in disgust.
He was looking for help side defense, but you know what? You got Dele in there protecting against fouling out, and I think everybody else flat-footed, perhaps expecting him to pass the basketball as opposed to shoot it.
Washington by 5. Grant Hill to the lane, and that was close to an offensive foul. The Washington bench figuring that Wallace was set, but it's Grant who's going to shoot 2.
Here Strickland goes on the dribble, gets by Lindsey Hunter. Now watch Brian Williams. Watch Brian Williams. He doesn't want to foul out. He does not want to foul out, so he does not challenge that shot.
But you can't give up those 2 points there. I think you got to swat that one away.
At this stage of the game, you got to give it up.
So Grant for 2. Look at the free throwing. The Pistons have outscored them by 7. But Washington the superior percentage. Grant misses for the 2nd time in a row. Don Reed will return. Bison Dele will sit down. He's just never been able to get it on track tonight.
See, with 5 fouls in this situation, you're really a defensive liability out there, because you're not going to do what you would normally do. Under normal circumstances, you don't allow Strickland to get that shot up.
95-91, Wizards by 4. Grant has his 40 points now. Richmond over Stackhouse with a hand in his face. Good D by Jarrett. Grant with a high rebound. Had the ball poked away by Wallace. Here comes Strickland to Wallace. Still Wallace at 6'9", made a great play.
Wallace got the defensive steal for Strickland, but here's the key. Did you see Strickland? He absolutely occupied Lindsey Hunter. Took him out of the play, didn't get fouled, and set that up for Wallace.
Stackhouse a screen and roll with Reed in the lane. Jerry on the run, did it.
Tough shot.
26 for Stack.
Tough shot.
Down 4, 5-10 and ticking in the fourth.
Stackhouse and Grant Hill, 66 points between them.
That's why Stack feels they could become the dominating duo in the next decade. Richmond against Stack. And a foul on Jerry. No question about that whistle. Just couldn't get out of the way of that foul.
You know, Rod Strickland, when he got that steal a moment ago, here you're going to see Wallace flicking it to Strickland, but watch Strickland, how he keeps Lindsey Hunter in the air, takes him completely out of the play before dropping it off to Wallace, who had an easy dunk. Wallace earned the steal, which Strickland will get credit for, but Wallace got the basket.
And again, that's a guy, Wallace, at 6'9", who will play a lot of center for this team and showing the agility and the wherewithal to knock that ball away from Grant and the resulting dunk. Timeout, 4:53 to play. The Pistons still find themselves behind the 8 ball here, trailing by 4. We'll return to the Palace. A good one between the Wizards and the Pistons. Pistons began the final quarter down 5. They have trimmed 1 point off the deficit, but they're still trailing by 4. The foul concerns graphically displayed on the Washington side with Howard and Murray with 5 each, Daly with 5. Loy Vaught has also been stymied with the whistles tonight. He has 4. Judd Bushler back on the floor for Alvin Gentry. Blocked partially by Reed, and somehow Richmond got it to fall. He got it up so quickly.
Wow. You certainly wouldn't want the ball inbounded from the sideline to a posting Mitch Richmond.
But they pulled it off. Washington by 6 again. Grant splits him, goes inside, a lefty. 42 for Grant, 99-95. Time not yet a concern. Under 4.5 left. But the Pistons need a stop or two.
There's the pick and roll.
Strickland got Lindsey off his feet. Missed the roller, but followed it up. Strickland blocked by Grant. Tharp surrounded by 4 white shirts and a whistle. It'll be a Piston foul. Rod Strickland.
If you're the Pistons, you can't stand around and wait for someone else to get the job done. Watch this basketball as it comes down, and everybody pretty much just looking. Bushler made an attempt, but Strickland able to waltz in and just get the second opportunity. Grant Hill fighting every stretch of the way to try to avoid another Washington easy basket.
But it's amazing how Strickland was able to get that rebound.
Yeah.
Got to give him credit. Pistons with their 4th team foul. Cheney with it against Bushler. A cutting Richmond off his shoulder, out of bounds. It belongs to the Wizards. Bennett Salvatore makes the unpopular call.
If you're Detroit, this is a huge possession simply because Fred 4 seems to be the hump. 4 points. They cannot seem to get down under that in the last few minutes. So if they can get a stop here, I think psychologically it'll mean a lot.
Offensive foul on the screen set. It'll be on Otis Thorpe. A big call in Pistons' favor. So the Pistons get it back. 3:53 to go. And a 4-point differential. Gentry continues to go with a smaller lineup. Don Reed out there up front with Bushler and Hill.
As important as that defensive stop was, this offensive possession is critical. You got to get it under 4.
Hill ducks inside, hit the side of the backboard, somehow found Lindsey. A trade try. No, rebound by Grant, or by Stackhouse rather, threw it to Bickerstaff. And Bernie says, I'm going to keep the ball for my side.
Did you see how quickly Bernie Bickerstaff went after that? He knew the minute he caught it, it was a turnover at Washington's ball. He almost went to the basketball.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're coached to do, huh?
go meet the ball.
Pistons unable to cash in on that offensive possession, so now they must come up with another defensive stop. I don't think they want to see this go to 6. They cannot afford to have this go to 6.
Tracy Murray, a rainbow. Missed it. Rebound by Otis Thorpe. He's out there for a reason. Money time, and he can clean the glass. We all know that. Pass! Oh, an unforced error by Washington.
It certainly was. It certainly was.
So the Pistons get it back. Both teams dead even in the shooting department, 5 for 13 in this fourth quarter.
Defense dominating, or offense perhaps struggling, both sides. I don't know, but this is exactly how it should be in the fourth quarter. Somebody's going to have to want it a little bit more than the other.
Pistons with a hump bucket, perhaps. Down 4, Grant to Donnery! They finally get it within 2.
Grant Hill operating out of the post, setting it up for Don Reed. He drew the defender, no one able to back down and help on the backside.
High screen and roll. Strickland went away. 2-point game. Drop off inside to Howard and a foul. A huge play by Strickland again.
Man.
Ball's on Grant Hill.
Howard will look for a 3-point play.
Watch Grant Hill. He's going to spin. Now, if we could freeze it right there, it'd be wonderful. You see how he draws the defender and sets it up for Don Reed. Okay, get ready to freeze it if you can. Right here. Here comes Wallace, or excuse me, Thorpe, and no one there to stop Don Reed.
But at the other end, Juwan Howard looks for his 24th point with 2.5 to play. Missed it! So the door is left open again. 101-97. Grant Hill quickly attacks. Cut off by Howard. Stackhouse called for it. A dribble drive. Inside, he's... No foul!
Oh, he was mad.
Oh, they let him play. Alvin Gentry can't believe it.
Now
justifiably so.
Yeah, now you put a lot of pressure on the defense. You got to come up with the stop here.
Everybody expected a call. Lindsay couldn't get it. Cheney with it. 8 on the shot clock. Used the off arm, got away with it. Bushler defending. Cheney forced. Missed it badly. Wallace a save, but the ball went out of bounds to Detroit. But Alvin Gentry saying, where was that prior call on this play?
Because you've got Stackhouse going. Now, he's gotten this call the entire game. Elevates him right there across the back. He's hacked across the wrist, and no call on the play, but the Pistons fortunately got to stop.
It should not change in the final 2 minutes. You got to make that call. There was a lot of contact. Stackhouse for 3. Got it! 101-100.
Clutch, clutch, clutch.
Timeout Washington. A stack attack. And we have a 1-point game with 1:41 to play. Jerry's 3rd triple.
I want you to watch Grant Hill semi-posting. He gets it, and Stackhouse is right here, just waiting to position himself. And Washington late on the rotation, and Stackhouse hits a huge bucket to send the Pistons to within 1 point.
But again, he took it in rhythm as opposed to dribbling the ball in a standstill position. And far be it from me to be any sort of a shooting expert, but you can see what Stack's game is all about when he's able to catch that ball in rhythm and knock down the 3.
And he doesn't need a lot of time. But, you know, it's awfully nice if you can have an extra hair of a second to get your rhythm to the point where you're comfortable before launching.
It brought a smile to the face of the captain. But Stackhouse and Hill now have combined for 71 points, 42 and 29, with Grant leading the way. Now what do you do defensively?
I think once again, the whole point is, if you, I look for Washington to come with a pick and roll, maybe a high screen on Strickland. How are you going to defend it? Are you going to double Strickland, or are you going to switch it, or are you going to force the defensive player on Strickland to get through? Detroit has to be ready to defend that play. You don't want to allow the cutter to go to the basket for an easy drop off from Strickland. I think that this time they will probably look to double him.
And change it up a little bit. Stackhouse is the man right now. He's hit a couple of trays in the quarter. Crowd into it big time.
If you double, however, you must be ready to rotate to cover the men off the ball.
And that would be Jerome Williams because he's back on the floor. Now the Pistons are going to pick up full court. Interesting switch. Making Washington milk some time here. Perhaps take them out of their rhythm a little bit. A pair of ones dueling continue. Strickland and Hunter.
Here's your pick and roll right there.
Richmond set the screen. Stackhouse goes through. 10 on the shot clock. Stackhouse stays with him. Strickland off his foot.
Richmond was setting himself to be physical. In doing so, he lost the handle on the basketball. It went off of his foot, and Detroit reclaims possession.
So the Pistons with a chance to regain the lead. But how about the defense tonight of Jerry Stackhouse? We've always known him as a scorer, but he's playing some hard-nosed D here.
When it's needed the most. Keep in mind, he got 3 blocks in that first half.
Grant Hill with it. Can he put his team in front? Hill to the hole. Now he's fouled. Grant goes back to the strike.
You cannot guard him. You cannot guard that first step. It's much too explosive.
Grant is 13 for 16, actually 14 for 18 now from the line. And they'll try to ice him here. But a chance to put his team in front. And if you're a basketball player, this is what you relish. The game on the line, the crowd electric, and a chance to maybe, if not win the thing for your club, put your team back in front. We're obviously going to join Fox Sports News primetime a little bit late, but I'm sure you won't mind as we finish this thing out. We'll join the gang in LA for all the highlights of the day and all the newsmakers. Alvin Gentry talking defense there out of the free throw. Charles Barkley has been fined. What's new about that? It happened again. Shaq Daddy against the Admiral. And an NBA wrap-up. Hot and heavy, of course, with 50 games in basically 90 days. So a lot of nightly NBA news on Fox Sports News primetime.
You know, Barkley got the $5,000 fine because he was jawing with some fans and swearing at some fans in that Los Angeles game where he had 31 points and 15 rebounds. And you know what, Fred? A lot of it was audible. You could hear him.
Well, you can read that silent assassin look on the face of Mitch Richmond as Grant Hill gets them both. He's got 44. 102-101 Detroit. My, oh my. Pistons trying to claw their way back at home and win this thing. But still, 69 seconds of defense still to play. Like the good old days when the Bullets then and the Pistons used to score over 100 points routinely. 102-100 here. Jerry Stackhouse has gotten better as the game has gotten along, that's for sure. 2 points in the first quarter, but look at the consistency since then. Of those, 8 points in the fourth, a couple of triples. And right now, his team leading by 1. He's joined on the floor by Jerome Williams, Don Reed, Hill, and Hunter. Lindsey against Strickland again.
Here's your pick and roll.
For the umpteenth time. Williams staying on Howard. Pistons bottle him up better this time. Plenty of time for Washington to shoot. We're under a minute. 10 on the shot clock. Hill now picks up Strickland on a switch. Grant holds the arms high. They double. Strickland a slop shot. Rebound. Lindsey Hunter. Pistons now with the basketball. They'll milk some time. Washington will get it back.
Super defense. They never broke down individually. Therefore, there was never any need for anybody to rotate or leave their man or gamble or anything like that.
Grant Hill against Howard again. 7 on the shot clock. Wizards looking to make a stop. Williams throws it up. Stackhouse no. 24-second violation. Washington has the basketball. They stop play as Richmond had leaked down the floor. And really the Pistons get a break there. So the Wizards will have it with 22.6 to go. They can work it down for the final shot of regulation.
But I don't think they will, Fred. I don't think they'll take that chance. They're down. If it were tied, they would probably work it right down for one shot. But they're going to take this thing fairly early. So the Pistons need to look for a stop and a defensive rebound.
So the Pistons not able to get off a good shot. Washington did indeed get the stop after the Pistons had played tough defense. Oh, my. What happened here offensively?
Pistons got the floor spread, but see what happens is Grant Hill, he sends it in there to Jerome Williams, who wanted to elevate, but he was bumped. And I'm not so sure. I don't know if it was a foul. Let's watch it to see if it was a foul. You know, there was just contact there, but Jerome, thinking he was going to get a foul, just tossed it up. If he did not have good balance, it may have been a good idea swing it back out to the perimeter, because they did have a man standing on the perimeter wide open. That's easy for me to say sitting here, however.
Well, the officials obviously letting them play here in the fourth quarter, trying not to decide it themselves.
Here's what you got if you're Washington. As you look at the timeout situation, Detroit has 2 full and they're 20. Washington, nothing left. Neither team has a foul to give. But look for Washington to come down. They're going to work it, probably with the pick and roll, or they may just let Strickland go right, try to penetrate into the middle. But understand this, Fred, I think they'll go early because they want to give themselves at least 2 chances to affect the end of this ball game. If you go all the way down to the wire and miss, you only got 1 chance. But if they miss and Detroit rebounds, they'll foul right away, put Detroit on the line, and still have an opportunity coming back perhaps for a win or a tie.
Any chance that Grant Hill might defend Rod Strickland here? Michael Jordan would do it in crunch time.
I don't think so. They didn't do it the last time. You had Lindsey Hunter guarding him. I think it'll be the same thing.
Grant wound up picking up Strickland on a switch and did a good job.
We'll check the matchups for you. It's number 1 on number 1. Lindsey on Strickland. John Reed, I assume, will take Otis Thorpe. Grant Hill will match up with Tracy Murray, and it's Jerome Williams on Juwan Howard. Stackhouse, of course, on Mitch Richmond.
Pistons need to play some defense to go 3-0. Richmond swarms Strickland inside. Got it, Toe, with 14.5 to go. What a money player he is.
Now, the Pistons pretty much have to do the same thing. They can't take this thing all the way down to the wire. They got to get it into the offensive executing area, try and get a top percentage shot, give themselves at least a chance for a rebound.
Strickland just has no wasted motion.
No. But I had a feeling they would probably have Strickland go to the basket. You know, they gave it off to Richmond, but then he gets it back. Look, he goes and then he gets it right back and to the basket hard.
He's sort of a Kevin Johnson with muscle, if you know what I mean. I mean, there, you know, that wasn't a blinding first step, but he knew where he wanted to go and very coolly and calmly banked it home.
Well, the most important thing, he's under control, and those are all-star numbers right there. 24, 8, and 7 assists.
So 14.5 for the Pistons, down 1 now. You certainly would look for Grant Hill to try to create something. He's already got 44 points. If you're Washington, defensively, you're thinking doubling perhaps right away. Sure would be nice to have Joe Dumars in uniform in this situation.
I was thinking the exact same thing. It would be another option, especially out on the perimeter, if you can get Grant Hill to draw a few defenders. But Stackhouse will be an option, I imagine. Grant Hill, whatever happens, will probably go through him. You may look for the Pistons to try and get something hard to the basket, perhaps to draw a foul.
It'll be Stackhouse, Hunter, and Hill emerging from the huddle, along with Williams and Reed. Pistons taking every bit of time here to make sure everybody's on the same page. This is the one part of Grant Hill's game that is yet to evolve, and that is hitting game-winning shots. And when he can get them to fall, this will elevate him to a brand new level.
Yeah, and once again, I think the Pistons go quickly. You know, you don't take this thing all the way down. If the score were tied, I reiterate, then you do. But now, in this situation, you want to go, because if you miss, you need to have an opportunity to get a rebound or perhaps foul and stop the clock.
Well, it is Bushler and Daley who are on the floor instead of Reed and Williams up front. Grant with Howard in his shirt. He bumped him, pushed him out of bounds. It's a foul with 13 seconds to go.
The official had to call one thing or the other. Back in the old days, there was that old force out. There's no force out anymore. It's either a foul or a turnover violation on the Pistons. Now, here's Grant Hill.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you something. Juwan Howard may have a legitimate beef there. Actually, it was Grant Hill coming to the ball after fighting off Juwan Howard. But once he caught it, his momentum took him out of bounds. Pistons catch a break.
So Juwan is done. And Grant Hill at the line with 13 ticks left, trying to put his team back in front.
Most importantly, he needs to make at least one free throw. 2 would be wonderful. If he makes one, Fred, he will have 45 points, and that will be the most ever by a Piston in this building. The most points scored by anybody in this building is 46, Shaquille O'Neal.
I think somebody opened the door and a gust of wind blew Grant out of bounds.
He'll take it.
We'll take that home court cooking right now. A study of concentration. Grant 15 for 18 unofficially at the line. Got it. We are tied 103.
Remember, Washington, no timeout, so the Pistons have to be ready to match up right now because Washington will inbounds and come on down.
And with no Juwan Howard, that is one less option.
Oh, I think Strickland keeps this basketball. Unless he has a clear pass to Richmond, I think he keeps it and he tries to create for himself.
Grant for the lead. Yes! He's got 46. Here comes the ball game. 104, 103 Detroit. Strickland spins. Lindsey falls down. He knocked it away. Bushler steals. Unbelievable play by Lindsey.
It was almost predictable that Strickland would try to go for himself, not opting to pass it to anyone, and yes, he got stripped. Lindsey Hunter came up with the big defensive play.
He made it on the way down. That's what made it incredible.
At this point, Strickland's made up his mind. I'm going. And Lindsey knocked it down. You're right, as he was heading on his backside.
How does he make this play without committing a foul? Oh my! Oh, he got all ball first. That's how. So now Bushler with 1.9 can give his team a 3-point lead.
Let me tell you how important Washington with no timeouts. They can't even call a 20-second to get the ball at half court. Whatever they do, they got to go the full length of the court. I mean, if he makes, they're only 3 down, but they got to inbounds it safely. And that's very difficult with no timeouts, having to come the full length of the floor.
Bushler is 74% free thrower career-wise, and he bangs it home. Here we go, Washington with 1.9 left. Thorpe fires a fastball. Legler's dangerous. Block. Grant Hill, it's over. Pistons win. In the end, defense wins. And the Pistons, with a steal by Hunter and a block by Hill, go to 3-0.
You're right. Terrific catch by Legler. Excellent recovery. And to block it with no foul there, Grant Hill. Yeah, defense won out in the end. Fred, in the very end. 209 points total. That's like the old days.
Alvin Gentry loves it. His ball club is still perfect. The surprise team of the NBA of the opening 4 days as they persevere, coming from behind down 6 in the 4th to beat the Wizards 106 to 103. And more of the mayhem tomorrow night in Philadelphia right here on Fox Sports Detroit. What a finish, Greg.
Wonderful game, and once again, the 2 big guys going at it. Grant Hill getting 46, a career high for the Pistons, followed by Jerry Stackhouse, 29 points, 75 between the 2.
And Grant able to win the ball game at the free throw line. Maybe a game that we'll look back upon in the season of 1999. Hope you enjoyed our telecast. We'll see you again tomorrow night from Philadelphia, 6:30 with a pregame coverage from First Union Center. Once again, our final score, the Pistons 106, Washington 103. You've been watching Pistons basketball on Fox Sports Detroit, your home of Fox Sports Net. Now stay tuned for Fox Sports News Primetime. Good night.